Here's why your wallet might soon feel the pinch. Trump's latest tariff pact with Vietnam could elevate the prices of your favorite everyday items, from shoes to electronics. CNN breaks down how the recent deal announced by President Trump could leave more dents in your budget. Wondering how this happens? Here's the scoop. Over the last 3 months, goods coming from Vietnam to the U.S. enjoyed a more manageable tariff of 10%. This came as a relief after a steep 46% tariff rate made headlines in April, just before Trump implemented a temporary halt. As Trump's self-imposed deadline of July 9th for finalizing trade deals edges closer, he issued a warning: the tariffs could rise again. But here's where it gets controversial. Even finalizing an agreement or establishing a framework doesn't shield against increased import taxes. The deal shared by Trump on social media dictates a minimum 20% tariff on Vietnamese exports to the U.S., effectively doubling the cost from what American businesses currently shoulder. In exchange, Vietnam has agreed to grant the U.S. greater access to its market, including not imposing tariffs on American goods. A lot remains up in the air about the deal's specifics, notably whether it's finalized or still a preliminary framework. Vietnam's official publication, Vietnam News, described it as just that, a framework. Clark Packard from the libertarian Cato Institute doesn't mince words. This is not great news for American consumers. As Vietnam climbs to become the 6th largest supplier of foreign goods to the U.S., particularly electronics, clothing, footwear, and furniture, these higher tariffs will hit home in multiple ways. The reason for this shift? Tariffs work by imposing extra costs on imported products, making them pricier. Although companies often initially cover the tariff costs, they usually pass some of those expenses onto customers through higher prices. Some businesses might absorb the tariffs to retain their customer base, stockpile goods in advance, or delay the impact. However, there comes a point where consumers have to bear the brunt. The White House maintains that these tariffs shift the cost burden onto foreign exporters reliant on the U.S. market's purchasing power. Kush Desai, a White House spokesman, pointed to recent inflation numbers as evidence, suggesting there hasn't been a noticeable spike in prices yet. Trump's strategy? To tilt the scales in favor of American industries and workers by making imported items pricier, thus encouraging domestic production. But the challenge is significant. Establishing local manufacturing can take years, and in the meantime, the U.S. remains reliant on imports. Caleb Pettit from the Independent Institute argues against the idea that American industries will see major benefits from the tariffs, highlighting how many still depend on foreign components and finished goods. So, what's your take on this? Do you think higher tariffs will encourage more domestic production or just leave more financial strain on consumers? Drop your thoughts in the comments.